And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome back New York Times best-selling author and my friend, JT Ellison, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new book, Last Scene. JT, welcome back to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's so great to see you. Hi.
Hi.
So Last Scene. Oh my gosh, this book is so nuts. It's a little bit darker than my usual fare. It's a little more insular. We have a young woman named Halley James who's having possibly the worst day of her life. She thinks she's getting a promotion. She gets to work and she's fired. She's supposed to go sign her separation papers and has moved out of her house and is ending her marriage. Now she doesn't think she can. And to top it off, her father calls and says he has fallen and broken his leg and needs surgery. And so she sees it as an opportunity to skedaddle out of town, go home, handle her dad, and deal with all of these things. And that night, looking for the insurance cards for her father, she finds an article about her mother, who she thought died in a car accident, but she actually didn't. She was murdered, and her sister is the one who did it.
Woo! JT, dropping us into the deep end and saying, sink or swim, my friends. And we are
Yep, there you go.
We are swimming, and I have so many questions, and I see the questions are already coming in through. Yes, exactly. I'm surprised too. All the surprised faces emojis are coming up on Facebook. I am so excited to get to all of them. So first of all, I just want to welcome everyone. We are broadcasting live to 9 different destinations across Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So, hey, mystery and thriller loving friends, wherever you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday, because Mondays can be murder. We're going to make them a little less painful and get your week off to a killer start. If you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask JT about her writing process, about these characters. We've got Halley, Catriona. We may have some others. We have so many questions. Let's jump. Just get them going right in the comments. I'll just get them right over to JT. First, we have Sharon joining us from YouTube. Hi, Sharon. I just got to see Sharon in person when I hosted Liv Constantine's launch on Thursday.
Very
so
cool.
Good to see you here, my friend. We have Chris joining us from YouTube saying, hi, Sarah. Hello, JT. So happy to be joining from Cincinnati, Ohio. Welcome, Chris. We have Renee joining from Facebook saying, hi, Sarah and JT from Southeast Florida. Hey, Renee. We have Randy joining from YouTube with his adorable black kitty. JT's a cat person, so Randy already is getting like 5 extra bonus points. We have Margaret Pinard joining us from the Pacific Northwest. She's in Portland. Welcome. We've got Robin saying hello, and JT from Toasty, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Welcome, Robin. And oh my gosh, we have so much to talk about. Renee says, I can't wait to read Last Scene. I think you're gonna love it, Renee. Margaret wants to know, I want to know how to find a read, about how a reader finds a book when they've transitioned to a rainbow shelf format.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh my God, GT, we're vibing.
Yeah, of course we are. I've put them all there so I know basically where everything is, but I have been known to call people and say, hey, can you look on your shelf and see what the color of the spine is? Because the spines aren't necessarily always the color of the front of the book.
Yes.
Which is a total cheat. And publishers, you got to stop that, because it really confuses us.
Yeah, because some of us are trying to be rainbow shelf chic over here. So come on, man. Sharon says this book sounds amazing. Renee wants to know, where does the story take place?
That's an excellent question. So when Halley goes home, she goes to Marchburg, Virginia, which is where she grew up, and her father teaches astronomy and physics at the good school. But where she ends up is a place called Brockville. Brockville is in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Tennessee. It is a very small biophilic community that has been started by a man named Miles Brockton, named the town after himself. And he and his sons have worked the land and built the town. And everybody who lives there has kind of bought into this whole biophilic desire to be at one with the earth. And it is, on the surface, it looks like a really, really cool place to be. And unfortunately, in the book, perhaps it is not.
Those poor jerks don't know that that's the setting of a J.T. Ellison novel.
Sadly, it's a J.T. Ellison setting, and all of the bad things that happen absolutely do.
Oh my gosh. Robin is saying, oh my God, that is way too much on a person's plate. Halley getting fired, the divorce, and then her dad breaking her leg. She's got to return home. And then, oh my God, the mother that she's been mourning through a tragic loss turns out has been murdered. Yes, exactly. And that sort of searing high stakes tension is, I think, one of the things that JT is really known for. I have read many of JT's books, and one thing that I really admire about your writing, JT, is how the stakes are so high, not just for the main character, but for all the characters. Like, you're not just coming in at a simmer, you're coming in at a full boil, and I love that.
Well, you know the rule, right? When you've got a character and you've got a situation, what can you do to make their life worse?
Oh my God. I'm going to update
it's soap opera, right? It's the soap opera mentality. How can you screw up their lives even more? And that always works. And you apply it throughout the book to all the characters.
I am now going to update JT in my phone as Vicious JT.
You got to take it out somewhere, right?
Oh my God. Margaret says she is usually going to her memory goes to the cover color, not the spine. Exactly. Robin says she's still thinking about that cake, the chocolate cake I made this weekend. Thank you, Robin. It took me 7 hours. JT also loves to cook.
And I watched that process. That looked absolutely amazing. That frosting, yum.
Thank you, JT. Renee wants to clarify, wait, so is this a cult in the biophilic community?
Cult's a very interesting word, and I don't know that I would use it to describe this. Maybe a little more along the lines of Stepford.
Ooh, okay, very Stepford. Okay, perfect. Now, JT, one of the things I want to talk about is we start out in the character of Halley. Well, first we start with the prologue, and I don't know about you guys, but I love a prologue. I know this is like a hotly debated topic, but I am team prologue. I find prologues just so intriguing. Then we jump into Halley, and it's a Monday, and so we know this is going to be on a day-by-day weekly format. Then we get into the book, and we come to Catriona. Am I saying that right?
Katrina.
Oh my
Irish.
gosh. Catriona. At one point I was like, Katrina? Okay, Katrina. And she is at a writer's retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been picked to read first in front of everyone at this retreat that has produced 3 National Book Award winners and 2 Pulitzers. # no pressure.
Yeah.
I was sweating. JT, is that based on a retreat that you have been to? Or is that the Iowa Writers Workshop? Like, what is that? I need to know.
So I have never been to an official writers retreat like that, but a friend of mine had just been to one and had been telling me about it. And I also did take a summer school class at one of the colleges that I went to. That it was awful. I mean, it was the most horrible experience of my entire life. And I really rethought whether I wanted to be a writer at all, because it's vicious. I mean, you think I'm vicious. They just piled on for no apparent reason. And they hated the character. They hated the character's name. Why would they be in a hotel in the middle of the day? Blah, blah. I'm like, well, they're having an affair. Do you think affairs only happen at night? I was 20, and it was so incredibly difficult to have them tear my work apart, and to have the professor just sit there. I'm like, come on, defend me. You gave me a really good grade on this and wrote really nice notes and said it was a great story. And you're letting these people tear me down. And I think that's, from what I've heard, MFA programs are kind of like that, right? It's like the Army. They tear you down so they can remake you in their own image. Yes. And that's very much what Katrina is facing.
Oh my God, I would cry.
Trust me, I didn't cry, but I wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to drop the class too.
I would want to drop the class, but then I wouldn't want to look bitter or fragile and have everyone else talk about me after I left. That is a conundrum. Margaret is saying, ugh, no thanks to that sort of treatment. Exactly. Nobody has time for that kind of apparently some people do, but really? Oh my God. Okay. So did Halley or Katrina come to you first as a character?
Katrina did.
Oh,
Because
interesting. But you start with
because she's not, she's not very in the book very much. She only has a few chapters.
Yeah.
It's very rare for me actually to write. Halley is the main character, and we stay with her through almost the entire book. There's two other points of view, but they are very intermittent. And yeah, Kat came to me first because I wanted, this isn't too much of a spoiler, she's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
I mean,
right. Of course,
murdered her mother, but she's a genuine sociopath who is fitting into society and fitting into this world, and she wants to be a writer, and she's using words to explore her own darkness, and she just was this fascinating character for me. And I had seen the article that I based her on. There was an article about somebody that this was similar, the situation was similar, and that's who I based her on. So she was the first. And then the monster came second.
Oh my God.
And then the main character.
Wow. I am fascinated by this.
Yeah, totally backward.
Elizabeth, welcome to the conversation, saying, good evening, Sarah and JT from Kentucky. Did you have another profession before you became a writer, JT? Thanks for answering.
Hi, Elizabeth. Yeah, I was actually in aerospace marketing for a long time.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I did financial programming for the Lockheed Martin under the FAA contract. So I traveled all over the country doing all that. And I did a stint in presidential politics. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, fun stuff. I thought at one point that I wanted to run for office, and I figured out very quickly that I was not suited for that.
Oh my God. As like in, would you be Senator Ellison or
something like
President
that?
Ellison or State Representative Ellison?
I don't know. Something. I mean, I got my master's degree in political management, and I was thinking run campaigns and then run for office. And no. Very disillusioned about politics.
Yeah, I'm also very disillusioned about politics. But weirdly, I can see you standing at a podium giving political updates, JT. I can see that. That is so interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay.
It is kind of bizarre. I know. But I was terrified of the camera. So that didn't work out very well.
And here you are with us today.
Right? I mean, it's very strange how our adult lives change.
John is joining us from Northeast Ohio. He says, greetings. Hi, John. Welcome to the conversation. John. Elizabeth is saying, that class sounds like it was for the birds. I know, that just sounds so mean. Robin is saying, why? Because it's my story and I can if I want to. Exactly. Why don't those people just be, a little less vicious?
Judgmental.
Exactly. Margaret is saying, I just recently started thinking through Anne Perry and how it must have been for her to write mysteries so strange. Was she an inspiration for Kat?
That is a really fun parallel. No, the answer is no. But now that I think about it, with her situation, Anne Perry, obviously they murdered her mother, and I guess that would be a really interesting parallel, wouldn't it?
And fun fact, I interviewed Anne Perry on this very show.
There you go. So now you'll have to go back and look at that interview, because I bet you touched on that.
No, you had to sign an agreement that you would not speak about that in order to interview her, which is fair. She did her time. She did her time in prison, in a women's prison, and she wanted to move on.
Yeah.
So I get it. Oh my goodness. So many. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. Okay. JT, Renee says, why you didn't like lying? Is that why you didn't go into politics? Exactly. Randy's adding, oh, you didn't want to be in politics. You must have morals. Exactly. Go ahead, JT.
I was just going to say, you go to DC very young and naive, and you really think that you're going to be able to change the world. And you find out very quickly that the world is quite entrenched, and the world doesn't change. And that's centuries of leadership. And that's really kind of a shame.
Exactly. Robin says, I love hearing about authors' previous lives. Heck yeah, JT. We need a whole new crew in charge. I second that.
Can you imagine the opposition research? She kills people. I don't think this is a good idea.
On CNN, they're like, how many of you have read Last Scene? On page 211.
Can
Oh
you
my God.
imagine?
JT
Oh
would
my
have given them
gosh.
a lot of material. Let's just
Yeah, that'd be
Margaret's
fun.
saying, wait, did you really, Sarah? Yes, I totally did interview her. I will post the link later. And then Margaret's adding, you left DC for Portland. No, you're in Tennessee.
Yeah,
She
I'm
left
in
DC
Nashville.
for, I was saying, Margaret, you're in Portland. JT is in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, you guys, the book is not even out yet. JT is coming on to give us the inside scoop and take your most burning questions about Last Scene. But you can pre-order the book from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book, right here, whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. Here is that link to click and pre-order Last Scene. And I will leave that link up. Margaret is clarifying, oh, it's her who left for DC to Portland, and it's donuts. Got it. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying that JT left DC. Margaret, I didn't know you were in DC. Okay, 2 DC people. I love it. JT, I want to talk about some of the praise that this book has earned. So first, let's just talk about this fabulous review from Kate White, who had this day, and I'm going to pop it up so we can all read it together. She says, if someone lies about the things that matter most to you, it's your right, isn't it, to go after the truth. So bravo to fearless forensic scientist Halley James for daring to peel away the layers of deceit in this dark, twisty, and gripping thriller that grabs you, pulls you in, and keeps you guessing until you reach the final page with your heart pounding in your chest. So first of all, congratulations on that for Kate, from Kate
That's
White,
awesome.
who's been on for her last 5 books. I love Kate.
I do too. She's fabulous.
She's fabulous. You said you went a little bit darker for this one. Tell us why you wanted to do that. Tell us about that.
I don't know if it was a want. Sometimes the books just dictate what they want. And while I did have Kat as the first character, the first voice that came to me was the monster. And the way the book started is not how it starts now. That got changed in the editorial process.
Ooh.
I had a couple of different openings and I didn't know exactly where I wanted to start because starting with him would probably freak people out just a little too much. And so we had to start where we started. And that prologue is not the lightest prologue. This is a dark topic. And I really wanted to explore something that I have a lot of experience with, which is growing up in isolation. Brockville is a very isolated area. The whole idea is to be off the grid, to be away from people, to have your own path ahead. And having grown up in that kind of environment, I know that people can get creative and they can get creative in good ways and they can get creative in bad ways. And I really wanted to look at the whole idea of, does isolation breed madness, or do evil people seek isolation to do bad things?
Ooh.
And that's really what this is about.
Ooh, I like that, JT. That is
And he
well
knew
said.
that the Epstein files were going to pop at the same time the book came out.
Maybe as a former political puppeteer, JT made the Epstein files pop to promote Last Scene.
Yeah, right.
Which is a masterclass in public relations. I love it. Frederick is joining us via YouTube. He said, you definitely make a better writer than you would a politician. Your imagination is more relatable with your words. Oh, I love that.
Thank you, Frederick. I agree.
Margaret wants to know, do you have a fearless fictional heroine who brings you courage in real life, JT?
Oh, I love that question.
What a great
Actually,
question.
yes, I do. I love Claire Fraser in Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series. Nothing phases her. I mean, she is incredibly strong. She's incredibly intelligent. She does not take fools, right? She is not going to put up with anybody who's being an idiot. And she knows how to love and how to allow herself to be loved. And I think that takes a lot of courage as well.
Ooh, what a great question. Robin is saying, yes, I was young and naive when I joined the Air Force. I thought I was doing something noble. Sadly, too many pompous, vile men in power. I feel like that is very relatable. And my sister in the Army is finding the same thing, Robin. Renee wants to know, did you come to a conclusion about that isolation breeding madness or madness seeking isolation?
I don't know. I
Mm,
really don't know. It's a chicken and egg thing, I think.
mm,
I would love to figure out the truth, but I do think people seek out isolation to do bad
mm.
things. And then
Right.
they find each
You,
other because they're
right.
all there.
That there is a person who sought isolation.
Right. Right. Because, you can't fit into society in a polite, civilized society when you have those kinds of thoughts. So, yes, I
Ooh,
think they seek isolation. I don't think the isolation drives them mad.
yeah. Although I feel like also, there is a reason why people are put in solitary confinement as punishment in incarceration
Right.
because it is especially punishing and it is it is mad making.
And
So,
if you have a weak mind, you go
yeah.
absolutely crazy. If you don't, if you are a diabolical evil genius, you like it.
Oh my
You get quiet time. You get
god.
time away from all these people to think.
Exactly. Margaret saying, "Oh, the weeb."
The
That's
Weavism.
love Claire. Yeah, I
I
love.
have a bee glade, Margaret. I have a bee glade outside because of all of this.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah,
Robin says she thinks that they seek isolation.
I
Yeah,
do too.
exactly. I want to talk about this fabulous review from our friend Heather Gudenkoff, who has been on
Oh,
for her last 3 books. I love Heather,
me too.
and I'm going to pop her review as well up. She says, darkly original and bursting with hold your breath suspense. Last seen by JT Ellison is a haunting deep dive into a harrowing crime, buried memories, and one woman's obsession to discover the truth, no matter the consequences. At the top of her game, Ellison's expert storytelling is on full display. Last Seen is a must read for thriller fans. I wanted to put this one up because I want to talk about JT. Remind me how many books you have written.
This is my 33rd.
Oh my God.
I've
Okay.
written 35, but this is my 33rd.
Wow. Okay. So, New York Times bestselling author Heather Gudenkoff is saying you're at the top of your game 35 books in. What have you learned from book 1 to book 35 that you wish you knew back then for book 1?
There's a lot of arrogance with youth.
Ooh, uh-huh.
It gets harder. It gets harder every single time because you don't want to repeat yourself. You don't want to do the same thing. You want to break new ground. You want to level up your craft. At this point, I need to be leveling up my craft, right? I've been doing it for a long time. I never want to give the reader something that doesn't shock and amaze them. And
Mm,
that's the hardest thing. If I had known that going in, that it was just going to continue being more and more and more of a challenge, I still would have done it, but I at least would have known it's going to get harder. It's going to be more challenging. I mean, we were talking right before we came online. My new book is just fighting me tooth and nail. And
mm,
sometimes that happens and it's okay. I think that's what I would have told myself. Hey, it's okay. Some of
mm.
these books are going to be harder than others, and that's all right.
Why do you think some are harder though?
I think it's the story you're trying to tell, or you haven't prepared properly, or you don't know everything about your character. Hence,
Mm.
that was my problem. I figured it out this weekend. I didn't know something about my character. You need to know what your character would kill to hide.
Ooh, oh my God, I love that. Oh, that is good. Is that something that you ask yourself with
Yes.
every book?
Yes.
Oh my God, I
And
love
it's every once in a while, this has happened twice before. The character lies to me,
it. Ooh, wait,
and
what do
I
you mean?
don't find out until later.
Wait,
This has happened twice now.
time out. What do you mean? Tell us every single thing. Are you saying that you are hearing the voices of the character and she's lying to you, and then
Yes.
later you figure it out? I need more details. I need to know everything.
So I interrogate the character just like you interrogate me, right? I ask all of the questions. I ask all of the things. I have a sheet, of questions that I go through to try to get to know them. And most of the time, they reveal themselves. Every once in a while, they lie. And it's fun because I don't like to know the end of the book, right? So a lot of the times when I have a really fun twist out of left field, it's because I didn't know that was coming and it just sort of happened organically. When I don't know what's happening, when the character isn't telling me the truth and then I get to discover it, it just has so much more impact, I think. But it can be very frustrating when you just know. You've met the people that you're friends with and you've talked to, and you can tell they're holding back from you about something.
Oh
You're
my
not.
God. Wait,
Yeah.
but how did you figure it out, JT? Were you like, wait a minute, Halley, this isn't adding up. You said this before, but I have proven this. And then she's like, I don't know what you're talking about,
I don't know what
JT.
you're talking about. That's not true. Memories are a really interesting, the memory is a big part of this, memory and
Yeah.
trauma. Obviously, she's been lied to her entire life. And that maybe colors how she approaches finding out what really happened.
Ooh, okay, yes. Because memory is a really interesting and tricky thing because people tend to think that it is infallible. And if you talk to
Mm.
any lawyer or detective, they will tell you it's not, or any neuroscientist. I was just
Yeah.
talking about this with Lisa Genova, who's a, world-renowned scientist and best-selling author. And she was like, memory, she wrote a whole book called The Art of Memory, the science of memory and remember the science of memory and the art of forgetting. And it's all about how the mind forms memories and how your memories are very, very subjective and
Yeah.
not to be counted on. Oh my God, I love this. Margaret is saying, hey, if you read 1984, memory isn't infallible either. I just finished it.
Great book.
Yes, exactly.
Great book.
Okay, Lar, welcome to the conversation. Congratulations on your new book. You are a new author to me. Is there a book you would recommend I start with? And I just want to say, I love this so much because my mavens who've been with me for the full 5.5 years know that my goal is to connect readers to their favorite writers and introduce them to their new favorite writers. So I'm so excited to introduce you to JT, Lar.
I'm thrilled to meet you. That's really fun. Obviously I would start with this one. It's a standalone. I have seven standalones. So the last several books that I've done, you can pick up in any order. So grab this one, then grab Lie to Me, and then do Good Girls Lie. You'll see maybe an Easter egg from Good Girls Lie in Last Scene.
Ooh.
Marchburg, Virginia, The Good School, that kind of stuff. And then I also have, if you like police procedurals, I have 2 series, one with Taylor Jackson. It's a homicide lieutenant here in Nashville. And the next series is with her medical examiner best friend. I spun off the series and did some books with her too. So there's a whole bunch out there to choose from, but jump into the standalones. They're really fun.
Oh my God. I love seeing all the hearts come up on Facebook.
Aww,
I just want to say, I was waiting to see if you were going to say my favorite book of yours, and you didn't. My favorite so far, and I'm only halfway through Last Scene, but my favorite so far is Her Darkest Lies. That is a masterclass in how to reveal a character's backstory in tasty little increments where where it feels super organic and natural, but keeps the reader guessing. So whenever a reader or an aspiring author says to me like, oh, what do you think is a good book about character? I always recommend that one because it is truly a masterclass in suspense and in a character dripping out information to you in a way that doesn't feel like she's withholding anything, but you're like, wait, what? And I loved that.
She was the other character who lied to me.
What?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes, she was. That was the other book. I appreciate that because that book, I did 7 drafts of that book, not 7 versions, drafts completely because I could not make it work because she was lying to me.
Oh my God, that's so fascinating that's my favorite of yours.
Yeah. Well, it had a lot of work on it.
But also, fun fact about that book, JT had to kill more people than expected because she donated the chance to be murdered in the book to a charity, and too many people signed up. So it becomes a bloodbath at the end, but it all makes sense.
There's a lot of people. And that book is my homage to Rebecca. It's the whole it's the whole story of Rebecca.
The castle. Yeah, of course. It's fabulous.
What if Rebecca hadn't died?
What if she didn't die? Exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay. Elizabeth wants to know, both to Sara and JT, do you belong to a group of writers you share your work in progress with? JT, you go first.
I have a very, very, very limited group of people that I would share things with. I will get on the phone and talk things out. There's one who does more editorial for me. There's another that I hit walls and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. And she'll say something and it will just unlock everything. And then I have a couple of research people that will read to make sure that I haven't screwed it up. My husband also reads and my dad reads. Those are my beta readers.
But not, I think maybe, and I could be wrong, but I think Elizabeth's saying like a group of writers, like what you were describing at the retreat, where you like read your work.
Well, I
like
used to do
other
that.
writers. Yeah.
That's how I learned. That's how I really learned how to be a writer. I, came out of a writing program and didn't know how to write. And it was bringing, we were the BMWs, the Bodacious Music City Wordsmiths. Yep. And we met every 2 weeks and we had to bring 10 pages to read aloud. And let me tell you, if there is not a wonderful exercise, it's sitting in a room with people who are going to support you instead of tear you down, who can really help you figure out what to do with your work. What about you, Sarah? Do you have a writers group?
I do have a writers group of other authors, and it's 5 of us, and we read each other's pages and provide feedback in a supportive and loving but honest way. And my best friend Amy is also in that group, and I will offline be like, Amy, or she's neck deep in it right now, so she'll send me a paragraph and be like, I'm losing my mind, does this still make sense? And I'm like, it still makes sense. Or it doesn't make sense, you lost your mind, go back, explain it to me. And I love that, it's invaluable.
Yeah, it is really, it's good to have sounding boards. It really is.
Last question from Robin. She wants to know, JT, do you know about the FBI interrogation study about behavior and facial tells?
No, you need to send me a link to that. I would like to read it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a little bit about, how people, if they're looking in different directions as they're making things up versus remembering and that kind of stuff. But I'd like to read the whole study. That would be cool.
Yay. Lar, and I hope I'm saying that right. It might be Lore. It says, wow, thank you both. I am picking up all 3 books mentioned. Yay, Lar or Lore. Thank you so much for doing that. I love that.
I agree. It's a great name.
Oh my goodness. And Margaret is saying she still goes to her former group's events and readings to support, even though she hasn't taken part in 5+ years. Oh, what a wonderful friend you are, Margaret. Renee is saying happy early pub day, JT. Yay. So you guys, again, I am going to put all of the advanced praise that we haven't gotten to in the comments so that you can read it at your leisure. But I'm also going to share one more time the link to pre-order now from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. So whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram in one of the 9 destinations that we are broadcasting to, here is that link so that you can get your mitts on Last Seen. And now you know that Halley was the 3rd character to come to JT. The monster came first. Yay. You guys, thank you so much for spending your Monday with me, your Mystery Monday. I hope your week is off to a killer start. May the days and the pages fly by, and I will see y'all next week. Have a very good week until then. JT, thank you so much for coming back. And you have to come back for your next book, okay?
Absolutely. Would be delighted. Thank you so much.
It's a hot date. All right, y'all, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday for #Mystery Monday.